and whenever they pass max, we do a Burger King line. But just say it has caused me a pretty penny in the last 2 years. So, but you know, that's a good thing, because I'm adamant that they're going to be better at math than I am, and know excellent that math is a favorite subject. To continue working hard and to show mommy glad to hear that.
And what class are you in, Noah?
I'm in grade 6.
So you'll be going to high school next year?
Yes.
Okay. And out of curiosity, what high school would you wish to attend?
SAS.
St. Anthony Secondary, good choice.
As long as he didn't say St. Joseph Academy, but you know, I figure out that outnumber tonight because now we used to go Academy.
Yes, Nabo and I are old,
yes,
native fellas.
Yeah, native, definitely.
I'll stay away from the Academy jokes tonight. See if I had my good friend Sean in the studio with me, then he would be told us to outnumber tonight, so I could.
Now, Noah, do you have a favorite football team?
Probably Juventus.
Juventus. Okay, and do you have a favorite football player?
Not really, but it's between Pogba and Mbappe.
Oh, that's two pretty good choices, actually.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, let's go over to Vaughn, better known as Leon, actually. Vaughn
Jackson Jr.
Vaughn, what school do you attend?
Fremont Village Primary.
And what's your favorite subject?
Mathematics.
Mathematics again. Mathematics again.
Good stuff. Mathematics. Excellent work.
And what class are you in, Leon?
Grade 4.
Grade 4. Do you have a favorite team?
Yes.
And your favorite team is?
Manchester United.
I didn't know they had Manchester United fans still. But anyway, you and I are not going to be too close with the Man U fan.
I like Leon a lot, so I'm not going to hold the fact that he's a Man U fan against him. We're still going to be good friends, but although you're back Manchester.
Who's your favorite player, Leon?
Ronaldo and Pogba.
Ronaldo and Pogba. Two good choices, actually. Let's step into Coach Nabo.
Yeah, special good evening. It's a good thing that Leon is a Manchester United fan. That's why you've been winning so many trophies at Generation X. You're accustomed to be winning trophies.
Well, we figured that out.
You're accustomed to winning trophies. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, well, I must
have the legacy.
I must say, apart from Nabo being a Man U fan, he has done wonders at Generation X Football Club. Every tournament here and in all the leagues that we've run, he's won.
Even the tournaments that we've done outside of Generation X, Nabo manages to
be very successful.
To get amazing results with the young players that are in this charge, and that speaks volumes for the quality of work that he has put in, especially at the UW.
Yeah, so
then we gotta pay homage also to the quality of work being put in by the Generation X. We set high standards. We have a lot of quality individuals around us. We set high standards, and we has to be maintained. That standard has to be maintained. All the kudos must not be given to myself. I think all the coaches play a critical part as far as that is concerned. So I'm just rubbing off of the professionalism that is exhibited at Generation X.
Yeah, and also between yourself and Zico, you created a coaching manual for the Generation X football club.
Yes, definitely. That is the way to go, and as we always reiterate, is we gotta set ourselves above and beyond the rest. So we lead, others follow.
And the important thing about that, if I could just piggyback on that concept of having that manual, is that it ensures continuity. So when Nabo gets them at 11, he knows exactly what they would have done from the 7s and the 9s. So when he passes them on to Coach Cheska at the 13s, it's a continuation. So when they get to the 15s, and when eventually I get them at the 17s, and then we know exactly what they should have covered, at what ages, and we continue the program. And that also ensures that not only we can keep the program going, but also parents can also monitor what their youngsters are doing, and that is extremely important, especially when we look at the opportunities and how they're presenting themselves. Coaches want background information from as young as 7s all the way up. So it was important for us to get more in line with what is internationally accepted at academies around the world, and that speaks volumes to what we're doing at Generation X.
Yes, and now, of course, Generation X is now going to be hosting two coaches out of Iowa, one from Drake University, Kevin Brennan, who you'll be hearing from a little later on in the program, and also Jamie Hycock from William Penn University. What do you think of such a combine to be held here?
Yeah, well, definitely, it's a great venture. It's a really positive venture in the right direction. I had the privilege of working with these two guys whilst we were playing the female tournament. Those guys were here, and they were the ones who practically did some of the analysis that we're doing per game, because they have the machinery to do the analysis. After every game, we sat down, and then we worked on our flaws, worked on our mistakes, worked on the strengths and the weakness of our team. So I'm pretty much excited for this. I have a number of females that are going to be enrolled in this, and it speaks volume. It definitely speaks volume that an organization different than the ABFA is bringing in individuals for combine. It's an important venture. It's a positive venture, and definitely the step in the right direction. This shows and this tells us that the youths have something to work towards at an early age.
And also when we selected the two of them who we met here, as you said, when they had the female tournament going on, the national female tournament, what we decided we were going to bring back those two, because one in particular is the head coach for the female soccer in the United States.
That's Kevin.
That's Kevin, who you'll be hearing from, and Jamie is the assistant head coach of the males in William Penn. So you have one from either side coming, so that both. And I must say also, Zico, that this is open to all Antigua.
Definitely.
Of course, there is a charge that's going to be attached to it. The determination of the charge of what we're doing. We're seeking sponsors to assist us so that we can minimize the cost.
The cost
incurred to enroll for the program. So there's going to be a cost on this.
Basically, the more sponsors we get, is the less that cost is going to be. But at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for both males and females, because it's important for us, if we're serious about developing youngsters, it's important for us to not only develop them by talking, but also putting mechanisms in place where they can access further education as well. So that's an excellent move.
Well, if we look at it, I think the educational part is extremely important, of course, because to become a professional in any sport in this world, it's if we can get 1% of the footballers in Antigua to make it, and I'd like it to be higher, but if we get 1%, I think we're doing a good job, because it's extremely difficult to break into that stuff. But at least if they get a university scholarship, they get an education. I mean, every one of these youngsters are aspiring to be a professional footballer, but it's very difficult, like in all the other sports.
Like in all professional sports.
It's
extremely difficult.
Yeah, actually, we're extremely proud of Christian Corbett, who has just been given the opportunity to be part of the Mansfield Town Under 21 Academy, and if I can just take,
I think they had their first game. They had their first game during the week.
Yes, yesterday I think it was, yeah. and they won. He got in there through the GN agency, along with another young man, an English young man, Leke Shadonki, from Nigerian descent, and those two individuals played a key role in their win, which they won over Lincoln Football Club, and they beat them 6-0. Lecky scored 4 of the 6 goals, and Christian had a clean sheet. So I mean, the two of them must have been a very integral part of that fantastic win. Yeah, so we're very proud of those guys. So we're just showing you the opportunities, as Nabo has just stated.
Yeah, because we cannot overemphasize the importance of such a venture. Because now moving forward, football is now become a technical aspect that you will have to be more or less merge your academics and your your ability to play the game together, and we must understand that at this point in time, because your tactical analysis, what we do now, we're moving into a more technological age where we're gonna have to use
Definitely.
more boards and more things to work out plays out, and you definitely must be savvy in those sort of
negotiate
situations
all of that.
to negotiate. No longer we're going to be using this bundle of papers all over the place. You're going now that we're going to
Interesting.
put it on the board, work it out.
Yeah.
You show the movements,
Video
and this is
screens.
critically important.
Interestingly, now we're getting to the point where some of the best football players in the world are also some of the smartest.
Yes.
So it's important for us to develop in these youngsters the importance and the understanding that football and academics has to go together, because to keep all that information, to process all that information on the field in a split second, you must have that level of intelligence.
that's why-
But while we're talking I mean, you mentioned Lecky scoring 4 goals. I know I have one of these players in here likes to score goals, and our skill ball league starts this weekend on Saturday. So let's go back to our young players, and then let's find out from them how excited are you guys about the skill ball league kicking off this weekend. Want to go first, Noah?
I'm very excited because that gives us more chances of winning more cup,
More trophies.
more
chances.
trophies.
More trophies, more games, more medals.
Yeah.
And you get to play against other teams. And hopefully you'll be successful.
Yes.
And my goal scoring machine over there. Talk to me, Vaughn.
And look at that smile. Now we're getting the smile.
That's what we're working on. So
Yeah.
tell me, plenty goals this season in the skill ball.
Yes, of course.
Excellent stuff. What are some of the teams that you like playing against?
Alberta,
Northern Patriots.
yes.
Like playing against those teams, yes. You score plenty goals against them. And I know you guys are looking forward to it. And one of the most exciting things for these guys, and I know both of them are really excited. Our new kids came out as well. And I know your parents already picked them up and you can't wait. Let me guess, they're on your bed right next to your boots, well clean and ready for Saturday, right now?
And how do you like the new kits? Because at Generation X, of course, we change our kits. We keep the same colors, but we change up the design so to get them in the mode of a professional team. So how do you like your new kits?
I think they look very cool.
Very cool. How would you, Leon?
Same thing.
Same thing. You prefer them than last year's kits?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's
well,
excellent. That's great. That's great stuff. So, guys, we're looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing this team play. And Ricky knows pretty well. For me, I like getting there. I like getting there early to see the youngsters.
Well,
we
just before we go, let's know you want to give a shout out.
Yeah, I would like to make a few shout outs. I want to shout out my mom,
And her name?
Isoki Perry. I would like to shout out my class and my teachers, Miss Bennett and Miss Christmas.
Excellent. How are you,
How
Leon?
about you, Leon?
Any shout outs?
Yeah. My brother Vaughn Jackson, my daddy Vaughn Jackson, and my mommy Amira Anthony.
Excellent stuff, guys. Ricky.
And what about Nabo? Want to give a shout out?
Nabo.
Nabo?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Nabo too big for shout outs, and you're going to be in trouble with Shannon because you're running over time.
Time, yeah. definitely.
Guys, I want
Thanks
to
a
thank you
lot.
guys for coming, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. Ricky, what we're gonna do? Short little break. When we come back, we're gonna have a treat for our viewing audience. National Under 14 captain, Mr. Dajun Barthley, is gonna join us for a little bit. Hopefully, he'll be joined by one of his teammates, Naeshawn, Phillip. But we're gonna go real quick. When we come back, we'll have that interview in the studio.
Conversations is back.
Guys.
But before we meet our guests for season 2, we'll take a look back at the highlights of season 1 all throughout the month of September. So join us every Monday at 8 p.m. for Conversations right here on ABS.
APA would like to inform consumers that the electricity network will be closely monitored during Hurricane Irma. Based on the severity of the weather conditions, the network will be completely closed down to minimize damage. This will be done under the advice of the Met Office. Residents are asked to have a supply of flashlights and other battery-operated lighting equipment. Candles and kerosene lamps are possible fire hazards and not encouraged.
So we're back. And as we promised, in the studio we have Mr. Naeshawn Phillip and captain of our under 14 national team, Dajun Barthley. Both of my guys, I had the privilege of working with these guys for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and then we had a tournament in St. Kitts under 14, and hopefully these guys stay fit and healthy, and I'll have them at my disposal for the under 15 CONCACAF tournament. Guys, welcome to the studio,
and of
welcome
course,
to ABS.
And of course, Dajun's father is a well-known former cricketer, Zoral Barthley, but we wouldn't hold that against you, Dajun.
No,
that's your father. We wouldn't hold that against you.
Although, no, definitely. Interestingly, and when we had that little space open up, these two guys came immediately to mind, because it's important for me personally to thank both of these young men publicly for putting in the kind of work that they did in our under 14 tournament. If I'm not mistaken, both of these guys played every single minute of every single game in that under 14 tournament in conditions that were really, really, really difficult. So, gentlemen, I'm going on record publicly saying thank you for the work that you put in. Excellent stuff.
Yes, I mean, you had a wonderful tournament. Okay, you came third, but it does not reflect to me how they played.
No,
it just doesn't reflect. I think they did a lot better than.
They played a lot better than third place,
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that because I coached the team. I mean, we had a couple of bad breaks, and that happens sometimes. You can't really negotiate or mitigate for that.
Now, Dajun, let's start with you. You were the captain of the team. What club do you play for in Antigua?
I currently play for the Villa Lions Soccer Academy.
And you're the captain of, I would imagine, of their division?
Not really, no.
Not really?
No. Well, that's something that we got to work on.
Yeah, we got to work on it.
You can't be a national captain
We got to talk to Sobi.
And not captain your club team. So
we got to talk to Sobi.
We have Mr. Gomes. I think you're going to be receiving a call from me in the not too distant future. We gotta work something out here.
And so what did you think of that tournament down in St. Kitts?
It was a wonderful tournament, a good learning experience. Especially being the captain, got to be more mature and improve socially. And
that's one.
Interesting story, and it speaks volumes for the amount of work that Dajun would have put in just about a year. Last year we had the under 15s, the CONCACAF tournament, and Dajun tried out for that under 15 team. I remember him being a lot smaller, and coming back this year, Dajun stepped out of the vehicle and he stood next to me, and I was like, no, this can't be the same young man. But anyways, and every single day I saw the improvement, and that told me that, you know what, he looked at not making that under 15 then.
What it is, he wanted it, and he wanted it bad, so that shows dedication, that shows determination.
In my estimation,
obviously he must have possessed the skill and talent.
But the skill and talent wasn't really the issue in terms of him not making the under 15s. It's just that we had a few more players who were a little bit bigger and more ready for the tournament at the time. But I say that to say, Dajun went home, he did his work, he kept working, he kept training, and he came back tremendously, like light years better than he was the year before. And that speaks volumes for his personality, that speaks volumes for his work ethic, that speaks volumes for the young man and the leader that he's becoming.
And what position do you play?
Play attacking midfield and defensive midfield.
Okay, fine. And Naeshawn.
Naeshawn,
Have I pronounced it correctly?
No.
Okay,
What is it?
correct me.
Naeshawn?
Naeshawn.
Naeshawn.
Okay, Naeshawn
So,
Phillip. So,
Naeshawn,
thanks for correcting us on that. And you went to the same tournament as under the stewardship of Coach Zico. And what were your thoughts in that tournament?
Well, it was a good tournament, but during the first game that we played, I was very nervous, but well, I just play my best.
And what team do you play for in Antigua?
The All Saints Fundamentals.
Oh,
that's Cheyenne's team.
Giants team.
So you
have a good coach,
Right.
there.
So coming into the setup at the national team, I had very little work to do with Naeshawn because working with Cheyenne, I know exactly Cheyenne's attention to detail. So I must give Cheyenne Jeffers a lot of credit for the work that he's doing in all sense. Naeshawn
and Sobi also.
Sobi as well.
And Sobi's done a wonderful job also too.
Naeshawn is one of those players that has a tremendous upside. And what I mean by that, Naeshawn is 15 and
13.
Well, yeah, 13. He's going to be 14 pretty soon. And Naeshawn is legitimately over 6 feet already. And as a centre back, you can't teach height. You can work on everything else.
So obviously Naeshawn. I'm going to get it right before the show. you play centre mid.
Centre back.
Centre back. So you're the one that held back a lot of the scores then. Prevented a lot of the scoring.
Did exactly what we needed him to do.
And it's a pity because in the final match, one of our players were red carded, unfortunately.
Yeah. And that changed
the whole dynamics of the
complexion of the game.
When that individual was, and I don't want to call any names, when that individual was red carded, what were your feelings on it? Did you feel intimidated that you were playing a man down?
Well, yeah, I had a lot of pressure on me, but well, we just did our best, and the game came out how we did.
And how about you, Sean?
I felt bad that we lost a man, but I just told the guys to continue playing hard, and we kept on working.
Okay, and Dajun, what's your ambitions in life in terms of your football career and your educational career?
Well, I would hope to go off to England, play football, and get further my education.
Okay, and in education, anything in particular you want to pursue?
I haven't really given thought to it yet.
Oh, that's fine. You still have a lot of time to develop that. But of course, I would imagine one of your ultimate goals is to play professional football.
Of course.
And Naeshawn?
Well, the same thing as him. But I just gotta start small and get big sometime.
Okay, and you have to realize that football careers are short, like all sporting careers are short-lived. So by the time you're about 35, you're really either underweight down or you're out of it.
Yeah, by the time you get to my age.
So your education is extremely important because you have to look at that in terms of what you're going to do after your football career is over. So you must take your education seriously. Are you guys interested in looking forward to the university combine that we're going to be hosting here shortly?
Yes, going to come up bigger and better.
Bigger and better. I like the talk.
If Dajun tells you he's going to be better, he's going to go home, he's going to put in the work, and he is going to be better.
Yes.
And Naeshawn has the same work ethic as well.
And of course, you'd like to represent Antigua at the senior level eventually too, right?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
They have, and interestingly, I've gotten really good feedback from our president, Mr. Gonzalez, about both of those players.
That's wonderful.
And so that tells me that the work that they're putting in, it's heading in the right direction. And so I just wanted to encourage both of you to keep working, keep putting in the time in your training sessions.
What school do you attend?
Baptist Academy of Antigua.
Naeshawn?
Also in secondary school.
Also secondary in the house.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we gotta start getting out of the city and doing those school interviews.
Well, if we're going to get there, you know whose responsibility that is.
Shannon?
You look into Shannon for seeing the countdown the seconds.
No, you.
Oh, okay.
You need to monitor Shannon's signs for you. My time management skills are on point.
Dajun, you're from a family with some sporting personalities. Why is it that you decided to take up football rather than your father's sports of either cricket or golf?
Well, I did try cricket, but we always played diamond cricket and wasn't too interested in that. So I turned to football, and from there just went upwards.
Okay. And what about you? You come from a sporting family also too?
Well, not really. Just only a couple people in my family play football, and I just decided to follow them.
Okay. So your dad played football?
Well, no, not really.
Okay.
That's excellent, guys. Like again, I mean, Wiki, and I can't say this enough. I want to thank these guys for that tremendous amount of work that they put in over the summer, getting ready for the tournament, and also once we got to the tournament, these guys were instrumental in every single result that we got. These guys were integral in the style of play, and also particularly important in the results that we got at the tournament. So again, I want to thank you guys for putting in that level of work and also giving me the opportunity where I could influence your style of play, and hopefully I would have made them better players and better individuals in the process.
Well, undoubtedly, I'm sure because you are a good coach, and so undoubtedly, I think you would have done a wonderful job there. Just before we leave, and say good night to you boys. Dajun, let's start with you. Would you like to give a shout out to anybody?
I'd like to give a shout out to my parents because they've helped me a lot throughout the years.
And their names?
Zora Barthley and Malvi Barthley. And my two brothers, Daria Barthley and Dajari Barthley. And my coach, Sobi Gomes.
Naeshawn?
Sobi's a good guy.
Yes, he is.
Shout out, Naeshawn.
Yeah, just my parents, Kizzy George and Samuel Lewis, and my coach, Sharon Jeffers.
Excellent stuff.
Excellent.
And I must say, lastly, that these guys are in excellent hands with those two gentlemen in terms of the work that they're doing. Guys, again, you can always tell I'm always excited when I have my boys in the studio with me. Hopefully we're going to get some more in, because these guys need the recognition for the work that they did. And so, I mean, we had our four.
Yeah.
That's two. I'm going through my list slowly.
Exactly.
And ticking them off.
And also we'd like to thank ABS Television for coming down and filming your arrival.
Excellent.
Which they did. They came down.
That was believe it or not, for as long as I've played with the national team, that was the first for me. That ABS actually showed up at the airport.
Well, in all fairness to them, from my understanding, is that they have never been informed.
And that is a problem. So I'm not.
So you can't blame the station.
No, never. I'm not holding the stations.
Not that I'm making excuses.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I am making an excuse. This has nothing to do with the TV station. The fact of the matter is, you have a national team coming in. The individuals, the powers that be, supposed to afford these players the respect of at least filming the arrival when they get back. So I must say, that's a step in the right direction, and hopefully that is going to be the norm rather than the exception.
I think it will be the norm.
All right, guys. Again, thanks for joining us, and hopefully I'll see you guys not too far from now, so we can get back in that training mode, so we can get ready for the under-15 tournament. Yes. Thanks for being here, and wish you guys best of luck during the school league, and also during the youth leagues coming up. Stay safe. Be good, keep training, keep working, and hopefully I'll see you guys in a couple of months.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, so we're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're actually going to go into a phone interview with female coach from Drake University, Kevin Brennan. And Kevin is one of the two coaches that's going to do the combine here in a few weeks. So we're going to take a quick little break, and then we come back, we'll go to that phone interview with Kevin Brennan. Hey, Kevin.
Desmond, can you hear me? How are you doing, sir?
How are you doing, Kevin? It's really good to get you on the line. How was the weather in Iowa?
You know, it's not too bad right now. We've actually had kind of a rainy week, but it's not been freezing cold. You know, it's probably been in the sort of 60s, something like that. But yeah, it's been you know what? It's been a very English week of weather. Lots of rain, lots of clouds, not too much sun, but it's you know it's kind of expected for this time of year. What about down there? How is beautiful Antigua?
Or as usual, the weather is lovely here, Kevin. I mean, but I'm pretty sure you remembered it from over the summer. Actually, what we really wanted to talk about was that that coaching combine, that recruiting drive that you guys are going to be doing in a few weeks. So we had Jamie on the program live last week, and so we decided it would be really, really good for us to get your take on that combine in November as well.
Great.
So
yeah,
just give us an idea of what you're looking at, and well, first of all, just so the folks who are going to be tuning into our program, just give them an idea of the university that you coach and what is it that you mainly are hoping to accomplish on that recruiting drive in November.
Yeah. Okay, so I coach at Drake University. We are in Des Moines, Iowa. We're a Division I school. We've been quite competitive in the last couple of years. Our women's team won the conference tournament last year. Our men's team won the conference tournament I think 2 years ago, and the men's team made a run at the national tournament as well. I think they got into the third round. So we're very competitive when it comes to soccer or football. And realistically, you know, the viewpoint that we're taking is I've experienced Antigua. Myself and Jamie were down there in May. We saw how high level the quality.
Hey, Kevin.
Desmond, can you hear me? How are you doing, sir?
How are you doing, Kevin? It's really good to get you on the line. How was the weather in Iowa? Kevin?
Desmond, can you hear me? How are you doing, sir?
How are you doing, Kevin? It's really good to get you on the line. How was the weather in Iowa?
You know, it's not too bad right now. We've actually had kind of a rainy week, but it's not been freezing cold. You know, it's probably been in the sort of 60s, something like that. But yeah, it's been you know what? It's been a very English week of weather. Lots of rain, lots of clouds, not too much sun, but it's you know it's kind of expected for this time of year. What about down there? How is beautiful Antigua?
Or as usual, the weather is lovely here, Kevin. I mean, but I'm pretty sure you remembered it from over the summer. Actually, what we really wanted to talk about was that that coaching combine, that recruiting drive that you guys are going to be doing in a few weeks. So we had Jamie on the program live last week, and so we decided it would be really, really good for us to get your take on that combine in November as well.
Great.
So
yeah,
just give us an idea of what you're looking at, and well, first of all, just so the folks who are going to be tuning into our program, just give them an idea of the university that you coach and what is it that you mainly are hoping to accomplish on that recruiting drive in November.
Yeah. Okay, so I coach at Drake University. We are in Des Moines, Iowa. We're a Division I school. We've been quite competitive in the last couple of years. Our women's team won the conference tournament last year. Our men's team won the conference tournament I think 2 years ago, and the men's team made a run at the national tournament as well. I think they got into the third round. So we're very competitive when it comes to soccer or football. And realistically, you know, the viewpoint that we're taking is I've experienced Antigua. Myself and Jamie were down there in May. We saw how high level the quality is in terms of the players, and you know, the national team did fantastically while we were down there. And I think that it's kind of an untapped market in terms of talent, and it's an exciting prospect that myself and Jamie have a relationship with you guys and have a relationship with the ABFA, and ultimately we'd love to find the next gem of a player to come out of Antigua and bring them to our respective universities. That's kind of the first approach for us, and then the second approach is to just kind of educate the community on the importance of academics, importance of education, and the doors that education can open for these athletes in terms of going to the United States and getting a scholarship to play and study out here, and then the wide-ranging opportunities that go on from that once you have a degree, and certainly when you have a degree from an American university, it will really allow you to go in many different directions all around the world in terms of their career and their life beyond university.
And that's excellent.
So yeah, that's kind of why we're really excited to work with you guys, and why we're really excited to get back out there.
All right, that's absolutely fantastic, and I'm pretty sure we have quite a few kids who are really eager to have that go of getting that university education. There was one other thing that I wanted to speak about and wanted to get your take on it. We unfortunately, not everyone is going to have the academics to actually get into a school in terms of having that education opportunity. Is there another avenue, let's say along the semi-professional ranks or even PDL? Is there any affiliation with your university, and or what I'm asking, are there any avenues that would be available for, let's say, boys or girls, predominantly girls, going through your female system, that would be able to access possible footballing opportunities outside of school, be it semi-professional or PDL?
I think the first kind of way to answer that question is, the American university system is very broad, and the spectrum for entrance is quite wide. So my university specifically, it is a very tough academic institution to get into. However, there's lots of different levels of academia in terms of universities in the States. There's something called junior college, which is an entry point for those students who weren't the greatest at school or didn't apply themselves, and kind of can come in with lower grades, and the first 2 years of a junior college is there to kind of help them raise those grades and get them to a point where they can then transfer into a 4-year university for the remainder of their time. In fact, Jamie Highcock, who's the head coach at William Penn, he went that avenue. He came into the States via a junior college, and then did very well his first 2 years, and then transferred to a really, really competitive NAIA school, and finished his degree that way. So Jamie could certainly give you guys more information on that. In terms of the kind of professional and semi-professional avenues, you know this as well as anybody. There's never any guarantees.
Absolutely
never any promises at the professional realm. But yeah, in terms of where we are geographically, the PDL, the Professional Development League, is a very competitive summer league where a lot of aspiring professionals play, and sometimes guys who are currently a pro who are returning from injury, they'll compete in that league. The team that won the league this year is based here in Des Moines, in the city, where on the men's side, and then they have an affiliate team on the women's side, which is also very competitive. I think they finished third in the league this past summer. So we are in a very nice spot geographically, where there's a lot of opportunities, and if there's a player who's good enough, and we'll do our best to promote and get these kids recognized. The setup is very, very good. They have accommodation, they house the players throughout the summer. They feed the players, they travel them. It's called the Professional Development League, and it certainly is that. They are really putting these players in a position to prepare themselves to be full professionals. So yeah, there's never any promises, but certainly if there are players who are outstanding in what they're doing, we will help push those kids into the view of the decision makers in terms of PDL teams or USL teams.
And that's excellent. And the only thing that we can ask you guys to provide is an opportunity, and that's exactly what you guys are providing. So, Kevin, we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. Thanks for not only providing us that opportunity where we can expose the kids, but also thank you for doing the interview with us today. And I think that information is going to be extremely vital for a lot of our kids.
Thank you very much for making this happen. I think it's great that yourself and Ricky and the ABFA are giving these kids the opportunity, and we look forward to coming back out there.
Excellent stuff. Look forward to seeing you in a few weeks, buddy.
Great. Thanks. You too, Zico.
All right. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Bye.
Hey, Kevin.
Desmond, can you hear me? How are you doing?
Conversations is back. But before we meet our guests for Season 2, we'll take a look back at the highlights of Season 1 all throughout the month of September. So join us every Monday at 8 p.m. for Conversations right here on ABS.
Taped interview that I did earlier in the week with Kevin Brennan, who, as we mentioned at the top of the show, is a female coach at Drake University, and he's going to be here along with Jamie Highcock doing combine. And interestingly, that will be their second trip to Antigua in less than a year. Hopefully we can get a lot of good things coming out of that combine later this month.
Yeah, and as we're talking about the combine, because as we had mentioned earlier, that there's going to be a cost attached to that combine. Of course, airfares, accommodation, meals, transportation, the whole works. And we're trying to minimize the fees that we'll have to charge the young footballers to partake in it. So we've embarked on a raffle, a Generation X. The first prize will be 1 year free scholarship into Generation X football club. And then we go second, third, all the way down to 6 prizes. One of these lovely hoodies will be one of the prizes. Track pants, compress shirts, and things like that coming all the way down the line. So we'd like the general public to go out and support that raffle, because all the monies derived from that will go towards it, helping to offset the cost for this combine to afford our young nation's footballers the opportunity of possibilities of scholarships, university scholarships.
No, ultimately we would like, just as with everything else at Generation X, we'd like that to be at no cost to the players. But unfortunately, we're not in that position yet.
Not yet.
So again, we're appealing to the general public, support the raffle.
Raffle tickets can be gotten from any one of our coaches, a Generation X or myself, or a lot of the parents. And so you can tickets are $5 each. So you can contact to purchase tickets. You can call my number 720-6741, or my wife 720-6742, Zico
781-4882. That's my number.
Yes, or just WhatsApp and those numbers also.
We'll be sure to drop off. The more people we get involved, the less our youngsters are going to have to come out of pocket to afford themselves or avail themselves of the opportunity where they could actually impress one of these two coaches and get into that US college system so they can further their education. So that's what's going on with us in terms of the combine and us trying to offset the expenses associated with that. Beginning in studio, joining us is
Alstair
Savoury
from Road Runners Cycling Club.
So we're doing a little
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome to the Automotive RGN Sports Show.
Well, I'm actually sporting some automotive art kit here myself, actually, for courtesy of Crabs Raceway, who we're going to big up a little later on.
And you have some very exciting events that's coming up shortly that you'd like to talk about.
Yes, we do indeed. Roadrunners Cycling Club, the largest, most proactive cycling club on the island. We've embarked on a
couple of ventures of late. Our first that we have coming up this weekend involves the Team Antigua Island Girls rowing team, and we're very, very privileged to have 3 of the rowing team members as members of our club. In fact, young Kavinia Francis was one of the founding members of Roadrunner Cycling Club, so we're doubly proud of her as well. And we're obviously very confident and, looking forward to them knocking the socks off of their attempt across the Atlantic. I mean, they stand in a very good position. They've got excellent coaches with a lot of, literally seat of the pants experience helping them out and guiding them. Their boat has already gone up to the UK for refitting, and they in turn are following in the next couple of weeks. So
we had a couple of them in studio a couple of weeks ago, and they seem ultra focused and completely determined to get the job done. So I have absolutely no doubts that these young ladies are going to make us extremely proud.
So what are you doing?
Well, we are doing our club, as we have so many members and we are keen to assist them. A few years ago we assisted St. John Hospice. This time we have the opportunity to assist them with Cottage of Hope, and we're looking to do a fundraiser this Sunday coming up at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in a ring road. And the idea is that for every mile you can ride, row or run or walk, okay, you donate $5 to their fund. And our club is basically
If I could just interrupt you there. Ride, run,
row,
walk.
We are getting the use of 2 of their rowing machines that they've been training on. So we will have a covered area where you will be able to, if you fancy your chances, some of the more sedentary who think it's easier can come up there and try their hand at rowing.
No, I'll go to walking.
There you go. So we're looking at contributions of $5 per mile, and the inner ring is just under a mile when you walk around the outside. So, like I say, we have a lot of cyclists in our club. I mean, we've even got people that are going to swim and donate their training swim mileage to the fund as well.
Well, that's wonderful.
So
tell us about that again. When is it taking place?
Well, this is taking place on Sunday. This Sunday, the 14th, at 7 a.m. we kick off, and we'll be running right away through the day until basically we run out of people. And the idea, like I say, is obviously you can come, you can sign on and do as many miles as you like and contribute $5 per mile.
And that money
goes towards... all of this will go towards the Island Girls team and their charity.
And their charity.
Cottage of Hope.
And their charity is
Cottage of Hope.
Cottage of Hope.
It's a halfway house for young ladies to help them, get back into society. And it seems like the current property that they're in has got some challenges, and if we can assist our younger less well off and disenfranchised, all the better.
And even for those who may not wish to run, walk, cycle or row, they can just come there and just donate.
They can come there and make a donation. I mean, it's
they can be a spectator and donate.
Clearly, we'd be up for that. We'll be up for that. But it's a worthwhile cause, and like I say, again, we're very proud of our team. We really love the whole island to come out and engage with us and show their support. The team will be there as well. It's one of the last outings that they will have together before they leave in a couple of weeks. And so anybody that's desirous of catching up with any of the young women that we have on the team, welcome to come along and, like I say, make a contribution. But it'd be great.
Then I noticed your cap says Crab Raceway. And you're doing another event there.
That's correct. On the 21st of October is the 5th round of Crabs Raceway Rally Sprint competition. Okay, now they've launched the Bimmer Cup earlier in the year, and this year they've been doing them side by side in effect at the first 4 events. So they would have like Rally Sprint in the morning into the early part of the afternoon, and then they would have Bimmer Cup races in the latter part of the afternoon. On the October the 21st, Sunday the 21st, 11 a.m., they will kick off with just a rally sprint event. And what's happening is that Roadrunners, we've engaged with them, and because we've been looking at putting on a mountain bike event for a while, and we were looking at venues, suitable venues, and we thought it would be great to get together with these guys during their intermission, because normally they would have an intermission when they changed the format of the circuit, because with the rally sprint you're working 2 lanes with a crossover, so you have a bridge and an underpass which they to cover, and the 2 lanes actually equate to the same distance, so they do about 4 laps, and so each race takes about 5 minutes or less, when they're really cracking on. So the idea is that when they have an intermission and they change the format of the track, we would come in and do a series of mountain bike heats, with the idea that once they've had their final race, because these guys are very slick. Crabs Raceway have a very, very well-oiled and streamlined machine. Their races go off on time. They start at 11 a.m. If they say they start at 11 a.m., they start at 11, and they finish at 5. Every race I've been to there, they've started on time and finished at 5. So at the end of their race, the last race of the cars, we will then have the final of the mountain bike sprint. So there's just like a,
when you say the mountain bike sprint, what does that entail? Like
okay, this is the first time we're doing it, so we've got it's a fairly flat track, but it's all dirt. It's loose dirt.
Because you're basically using the rally track.
We're using a section of it in front of the spectator area, okay, and it incorporates the slip road that the race car drivers use as they come back into the pit after each race. So that way the spectators effectively, once the guys stop for the rally sprint and they go into an intermission, our guys will come out and we will carry on a series of heat races. We have a 400-meter track effectively marked out. It's not too challenging, but like I say, it's the first time, so we're doing this to gauge interest, and we expect to have 30 to 40 riders come out.
Would all the riders be from Roadrunners?
No. This is open to everybody that wants to have a crack at mountain bike racing. We have mandatory equipment requirements. Your bike has to be fit, first of all, has to have operating brakes and gears, etc. It's got to be in reasonably good working condition. You've got to wear a helmet, and then of course we have liability waivers that everybody has to sign before they take part, because really and truly, like all racing, there is an element of danger, and we cannot be held responsible for that in one sense. I mean, you come and take part entirely at your own risk, and the idea is for it to be fun. We're coming out to race for fun.
Okay, so this event will be for fun, and hopefully in the future it will be very competitive.
Well, we expect it to be competitive from the get-go. I've heard stories of guys going out and bought themselves new mountain bikes already. So in that regard, I think we're on the right track, so to speak. And we're looking forward to a really good event. I mean, the car racing is great entertainment in the first place, and if we can fill in the intermissions with some bike racing, people are going to get a full itinerary of
everybody. You get to put on your tournament and
exactly
get racing and get people interested, and it's something for the spectators to do during the intermission.
Great. It covers all the bases.
Alstair, unfortunately our time is up. We would like to have you back again to let us know how it went with Team Antigua Island Girls, and then you can elaborate more again as the date gets closer.
Before we go, is there a register for the mountain bike?
The mountain bike races registration will start from this Saturday coming through until next Friday. There will be a cut-off on Friday. There will be no registration after Friday. The Saturday will be used for mountain bikers to come up and learn the circuit and practice and learn the system of operation as we set the, because everything has to move seamlessly. When one set of racers come off the track, we have to be able to come on, execute our races in a timely fashion, that we don't hold them up, and in turn come off the track, allow them to go back to the sprint car, and vice versa. So
is there a cost attached to the registration?
it is $10 registration. The circuit is 400 meters for the mountain bike riders, and it's 2 laps per heat. And we expect to have, I did some circuits of the track. I did 2 circuits of the track in under 3 minutes. So, if I can do that with a few sodas in me, hey, some of the guys need to get out of it. And my age, yeah. So we're looking for some fast and furious action even on mountain bikes, yeah.
Excellent stuff. So again, the dates.
The 14th, we have the fundraiser up at Savoury and Richards with the Team Antigua Island Girls.
And the 21st.
On the 21st, we're up at Crabs Raceway from 11 a.m. Right away through to just after 5 p.m.
To be part of it, they just contact you.
Spectator prices for Crabs Raceway are $20 a piece. Entry fee for those who are registering to ride is $10.
And they can contact you at?
They can contact me at 728-8485, or they can link us through our Facebook pages, either Roadrunners Facebook page, Roadrunners Cycling Club, or they can call Lindsay Duffy, the president of Roadrunners Cycling. Her number is 788-2840. But either way, they can link us all through Facebook or social media, because we have a variety of tentacles out there. We have a couple of pages.
Alistair, well, thanks for being on the Automotive
Thank you very much.
Show.
Thank you very much for having us.
We look forward to having you back again to let us know how the fundraising went for the Team Island Girls Antigua.
Next time I come, I hope I can bring some of the guys from the motor racing fraternity, and they can expand in more detail on their projects.
That'd be wonderful. That'd be wonderful.
From the guys from Crabs.
Pass that information on to our wonderful producer Shannon, and hopefully we can make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, again, Alistair, thank you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, it's going to be cricket time.
Cricket time with Shelana.
Lovely cricket. So stay tuned. We're going to be back shortly after the break.
Conversations is back, but before we meet our guests for Season 2, we'll take a look back at the highlights of Season 1 all throughout the month of September. So join us every Monday at 8 p.m. for Conversations, right here on ABS.
APA would like to inform consumers that the electricity network will be closely monitored during Hurricane Irma. Based on the severity of the weather conditions, the network will be completely closed down to minimize damage. This will be done under the advice of the Met Office. Residents are asked to have a supply of flashlights and other battery-operated lighting equipment. Candles and kerosene lamps are possible fire hazards and not encouraged.
Conversations is back, but before we meet our guests for Season 2, we'll take a look back at the highlights of Season 1 all throughout the month of September. So join us every Monday at 8 p.m. for Conversations, right here on ABS.
APA would like to inform consumers that the electricity network will be closely monitored during Hurricane Irma. Based on the severity of the weather conditions, the network will be completely closed down to minimize damage. This will be done under the advice of the Met Office. Residents are asked to have a supply of flashlights and other battery-operated lighting equipment. Candles and kerosene lamps are possible fire hazards and not encouraged.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, and as is customary, it's cricket time. Women's T20 cricket, and I am counting down the days, really. I am counting down the days, and more importantly, last couple of weeks, we found out the lineup for the entertainment.
But just before you get any further there, while we were on break, we were having a discussion, and you were telling me that how you were excited, but it was the same excitement you were telling me during the break, but we wouldn't get into that. It was a different excitement. It was a different excitement. And I see Shelana over there laughing. I see Shelana. Anyway, we're here to talk about cricket. We're here to talk about cricket anyway.
I get excited.
We are here to talk about cricket.
When it's cricket.
Shelana.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to cut him short. Good evening, Shelana. Welcome back to the Automotive GNFC Sports Show.
I'm always happy to be here because it's all about cricket, women's world T20
and
cricket.
Shelana, we're still waiting to play the song which we have not been able to as yet.
We're working on it, trust me.
I'm almost
because soon
I'm almost giving up on that.
Because we have to play it, you know, and I am not as excited for the draw down to the game, even though I want to see the game, because I know after that is over, we're not going to be seeing much of you.
Well, you never know.
Oh, that's true. And anyway, in the house with you, you have two other beautiful young women. Young ladies.
But they are
young ladies.
That's so young.
And would you like to introduce them to
Yes, I would. This is my coworker, Krystal Gomes. She's Regional Administrative Officer.
Evening, everybody.
And we have Nelecia Yeates, who's the Regional Commercial Manager. Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Automotive GN Sports Show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're excited to be here. And we have the song. We have the song. We have 3 versions.
So you can't tell me we have the song and don't tell me we can play it.
We can play the song.
We can play it, but we have to have permission because they locked down all of the Facebook Live.
Oh, yeah.
That was the problem too.
Oh yes. We'll tease the song tonight.
We'll tease it tonight.
Tell me if you're ready, I'll press play.
Okay, Shannon, how could we get...
We're going to play just a little bit of it, so we don't get into trouble. Okay, so we're going to work on that.
We're going to work on that. You have to email it to Shannon.
My phone and plug it in for me.
And then we'll go from there. So
while we're working on that,
let's
what's new, ladies? What's new? What do you got for us this week?
All right. So, of course, you know all the elements of cricket. You have the party stand, you have the north stand, you have the south stand, you have the bleachers, and you have the hospitality suites, the boxes. So Krystal is here to tell you about the packages for the hospitality suites.
Yes. So, you know, apart from supporters and fans being able to view the games in the stands and on the grounds, we have created an official corporate hospitality package specific to each of the host venues, so that companies or even a large group of colleagues, right, they can revel in the history-making, boundary-breaking cricket in the comfort of a luxury suite.
Yes.
So, yes, it's
you
new.
talked about the history-making and boundary-breaking. Krystal, don't forget what you're saying. Ricky, I think you need to upgrade my tickets.
I was just about to say, you know what was the key word for him? Luxury.
No, that he has to earn. And I'm not sure if he's earned it yet. He has to earn that.
Krystal said companies. The last time I checked, Generation Next was a company.
No.
Right.
Generation is a friendly society.
Well, you guys can come together and purchase a package, you know. So
It belongs to the ICC.
I just love the terminology. History making.
boundary breaking.
I love that.
Right. So, you know, it really seems to be a season of first because this is the first time that we're having an all-inclusive corporate hospitality package, because in years gone by it was usually that after customers buy a suite they would have to look about their own catering, but for this year and for this he's interested. For this year and for this tournament, once a customer purchases that corporate hospitality package, they don't have to lift a finger thereafter. We will take care of everything. How that sound?
You're paying attention?
I'm paying very much attention.
Right.
You listen, but you're not paying attention. Go right ahead.
So the package obviously grants the customer access to the suite, and it also grants them access to the basic amenities in the suite. So that would be like, you know, the kitchenette, the television, some chairs, some tables, and in the package is also an impressive and top quality catering program that we have lined out. So in Antigua and St. Lucia, we have Goddard Catering Group. They will be delivering some very top-end VIP catering experiences to the patrons that will be in the suites. And in Guyana, we're going to have GK Inc. They will be delivering that VIP catering experience, and in the package you will also get some car passes, some match tickets, and also the patrons will get to view all of the live performances that we have in store.
So while you are there watching the game,
right,
you're enjoying all this wonderful
amenities. Right, yes.
Air condition.
Yes.
Comfort and luxury.
Can't get
any better than that. You just watch the history. That is it.
I'm interested in the cost, so Ricky knows what he has.
So let me tell you, anyone or any company that is interested in purchasing the package, they can contact me, Krystal Gomes, at 268. So you're writing it. 268-788 5191 or 481-2488, or shoot me an email at kgomes@windiescricket.com, and I will take care of you.
And tell them the price, Krystal.
And for those who may not remember the numbers or the email, is there an easier way they can go on a site or like Cricket West Indies?
What's the website that we have?
The tickets inside.
We'll take you to it.
And you had mentioned that there's an app for that a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, the ICC app.
And if you could just say it again for those listening.
The ICC app, which you can download on Google Play or Apple Play Store. You can also go to the website. He's writing. He's writing. Pure writing.
And I noticed he's writing it. He's writing it in pink too.
Yes, he is. I'm so proud of him. That's the tournament colors.
But it's pink ball.
Yes.
I went through my entire bag because I know I had a pink pen. And well, no, I'm kidding. It's just by chance.
So if you go to the app, you can get all of this information. Do you want to tell us the package price?
Just contact me and I'll talk.
You want them to just contact you?
All right. Well, in Antigua, we are gonna have where the semifinals and the final are gonna be played. So we have capacity. The suite capacities are in 15-seaters and 30-seaters. So for a 15-seater, it would be in US 3,750. And
that's easy money for you.
Okay, you see, remember all the great things that you're gonna get: the catering, the entertainment, the tickets, the car passes, and get to watch history Making cricket, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. Right, and so for a 30-seater, that will be in US 7,500, and we will take care of you and all your guests.
But I would like to say one thing. In the past, when you purchase a corporate hospitality suite, you have to pay a
For your
license fee and then do your own catering. The figure Krystal has quoted covers everything. So it's one-stop shop. You don't have anything to do.
Just come and
If you
enjoy.
purchase a 15-seater, we will give you 15 tickets. You get 3 car passes. And we're going to have a little surprise on match day. You have top-end drinks, high-quality
drinks,
food.
Yes.
You know, all the suites tend to be within the television arc. So you have prime seat of the matches. All the match presentations take place in front of the suites. So you literally have prime time, prime positioning, view of the field, and you're allowed to, in the corporate suites, it's free. You can move about, so you get to socialize. So it's something that we're really encouraging corporate companies to come on board. I will say to you, Krystal hasn't, but a lot of the 30-seaters are gone, and we're just have a couple 15-seaters that are remaining, and we're encouraging patrons in Antigua, come on out. This is
first ever,
and I don't think Antigua has ever hosted the finals of any world tournament. So there's a lot of history, not just for women's cricket, but for Antigua and Barbuda sports.
But
in
also,
general.
even from what the weeks that we've been spending with Shelana, I mean, there's a lot of planning and organization that have gone into this event, and I don't think that there's, even when we hosted the World Cup here in Antigua for a couple of the matches, I think it was
2007.
Yes, I don't think we had as much planning as is taken.
Well,
so it leads me to believe one thing: you should put women in charge of doing this all the time.
For sure. But I would say to you, you can feel the intensity of it, because in 2007 it was spread out. So you had a couple years. We're putting on a world tournament in just under a year. And one of the things that Cricket West Indies did is they pulled staff from their regular operation and put them together and said, you run with this. And what we did in looking for team members, we looked around Antigua and in the region and looked for people who are involved in entertainment, who are involved in sports, people that have a different eye, because we wanted to get the right story out there. So Cricket West Indies, we do cricket, and haven't been getting a lot of the success that we want, and for the work that goes in at Cricket West Indies to get fans out. So we looked around and we're like, okay, what company, what individual in each of the islands are on the pulse of the young people? How can we engage them? So that's how we have Shelana, we have Shelita, we have Krystal, and we ask them what's happening, what it is that the young people want to do. A lot of everything that you're seeing is a compilation of the young minds in Antigua, in Guyana, and in St. Lucia. And people are feeling it. People are really feeling the pulse. So this is part of the legacy for Cricket West Indies. What we do in this tournament will carry on in the work at Cricket West Indies. So, and also ICC has been very accommodating, and they've learned, in 2007, there was a lot of, you can't bring this, you can't do that. In 2018, conch shells will be there. You will have your conch shell.
You will have your cooler.
You will have your cooler. And you will have back West Indies Caribbean style cricket. Hence all the entertainment that Shelana has been speaking about over the last couple of weeks. Everything is back. Our style of cricket. Because we are defending our title at home, our way.
Very good. That's really. It must have been some tremendous effort and work that from what I've gathered over the last few weeks.
For me,
culminating here with tonight with what you're telling me now.
I mean, this is new, and when I say new, 2007, I was actually at university, so I missed the whole World Cup experience in Antigua. Ricky, you still have to buy my ticket because this is the first
ever.
I missed the 2007 World Cup.
So you have to make up for 2007.
I'm making up, and more importantly, the women actually winning.
But the thing about it, this to me, this is just amazing, to be quite frank, in terms of how all of this has come together. And as Nelecia just said, you've had just less than a year to put this all together, as opposed to when we hosted in 2007 the men's World Cup, World Cup cricket, and they had a few years to put it together.
We're not going to speak about
and,
it.
and you guys have done this in such a short space of time. It's, to me, it's just simply amazing that you've been able to do all of this. Just out of curiosity, I know it's only being played in St. Lucia, Guyana, and of course Antigua. Was there any bidding process as to how the selection was made, or it was just done at random?
No, we had a full bid. Each, because there are 10 venues that can play cricket in the region. So we receive, with the exception of Dominica, because when the bid went out, they just had hurricane. So it had just happened. So with all due respect to them, they could not have submitted a bid. But all the other territories, Jamaica, Antigua, St. Kitts, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbados, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, they all were invited to a bid summit here in Antigua, and went through the process, tell them, what are the benefits to their country, and we received bids from the territories, and we had a grading system, and Antigua, Guyana, and St. Lucia came out on top. So that's how they were awarded these matches.
And how did you arrive at the decision to have the semi-finals and the finals here?
It was based on what the countries bid, and
Antigua won the bid.
Antigua won in that line. So the countries were you invited to bid from warm-ups to from warm-ups to group stage and semi-finals, and Antigua.
Well, the reason why I asked you the question, and I'm very pleased with the answer, is that all the territories were bidding for it.
Yeah, all the territories. Yeah.
To me sends a good signal that we're not just about the male-dominated section of the sport. That we're looking at the female aspect of the sport too, and in particular, of course, world making,
history making, boundary breaking.
Yes. Standalone event.
Right. Have a standalone, correct. And one thing too for the board is the legacy, and it goes to show how much the level of importance that Cricket West Indies has placed on this tournament. Because for us, the legacy is showing and demonstrating to girls and young women that cricket is a viable career option.
Yes, and you know that's one of the things I have seen over the years, is that cricket in particular has lost a lot of the gravitation of the youngsters to that particular sport. They've tended to go towards other sports like football, basketball. And all even athletics, and people have strayed away from cricket for whatever reason. I know one of the reasons also is because our male aspect of the game are not doing very well. So the thing about it is that youngsters tend to gravitate to what is successful, and so with the females, West Indies doing so well. I agree with you, Nelecia, that you're going to see females gravitating towards the sport.
Yeah, it's a good example. Yeah.
And let's hope the spin-off with that is that the males will start to gravitate back towards the sport. I know cricket is a more expensive game than most of the others, because you're talking about a lot of personalized games that cannot be shared.
Yes.
So I know it's more expensive, and I know it's a lot of effort that Cricket West Indies have put into the development of the sport. And the grassroots, that grassroots program there, I know they've spent a significant amount of money. So.
Okay, your cue card. Your cue card.
So anyway, so I'm very very happy to see that this is taking place. I'm proud. I'm once again proud to say that I'm a supporter of the West Indies cricket, even though it's the female section of it. It's still West Indies cricket.
It's still
cricket. It's still.
I'll make the clear distinction and clear demarcation
that you're so only supporting the women.
The women.
Well, the males will come back around.
When they
and
start to win, I'll support them when.
But we
start
can't
to
just support when we're winning. It's all part of the process, you know. In anything in life, you have different, you know, stages, and the guys are just going through a stage where, you know, we need to be behind them. You know, there's so much things happening behind the scene, and the turnaround is coming. It's not far. It's coming, and but. As a parent, you know, you want the best for your child, and that's what we want out of West Indies.
And not only that, but cricket to me is so integral and important to our West Indian culture.
It's the fabric of our society.
Because it's the only, if you really study it, it's the only thing that we call West Indian. There's nothing else that's West Indian.
We do together.
Everything
Apart
else
from university, we have the University of West Indies and some of the regional health organizations.
In all fairness, there has been a bit of improvement with the men the last few years, so hopefully.
Yeah, so you know, as a parent, you don't just give up on your child. So we, as the West Indian public, we can't give up. You know, we have to continue to encourage and continue to support. But more importantly, we want to build new fans to cricket and to the women's game, and we want all the girls out there to know that cricket is a viable career option. Not only as a player, you have coaches, you have in terms of administration, because the three of us are all part of the administrative arm, and that's part of the legacy.
And
you know, Shelana came from cricket on the other side when she was at Digicel as a sponsor, so she's now working for the governing body, so she's now have both elements. She's a true sport and administrator now, because she knows it from the sponsor side and she knows it from the governing body side. Krystal just graduated from university and she's in the governing side. So, you know, and I mean, well, I've been in the administrative side for a little bit time.
Just a little minute.
You know, so it's nice when I see young women coming up and doing what I have been doing, you know. So we know that, you know, sports administration is in good hands of women.
I think so.
Excellent. Ladies, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for the little gifts.
Yes, always welcome every week.
Ricky, Krystal number. And
call me. Email.
I've noticed that.
We can work on the hospitality suite.
Yeah, the hospitality suite is large groups. You get the group together. Anyway, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Are we gonna play that sneak peek of the song?
Yeah. We're gonna have to try. We definitely have to get that sorted out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take our second commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna have our resident doctor, Dr. Rick Millis from the AUA, talking with us. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
Conversations is back, but before we meet our guests for season 2, we'll take you very much. Highlights of season 1 all throughout the month of September. So join us every Monday at 8 p.m. for Conversations right here on ABS.
APA would like to inform consumers that the electricity network will be closely monitored during Hurricane Irma. Based on the severity of the weather conditions, the network will be completely closed down to minimize damage. This will be done under the advice of the Met Office. Residents are asked to have a supply of flashlights and other battery-operated lighting equipment. Candles and kerosene lamps are possible fire hazards and not encouraged.
Conversations is back, but before we meet our guests for season 2, we'll take a look back at the highlights of season 1 all throughout the month of September. So join us every Monday at 8 p.m. for Conversations right here on ABS.
APA would like to inform consumers that the electricity network will be closely monitored during Hurricane Irma. Based on the severity of the weather conditions, the network will be completely closed down to minimize damage. This will be done under the advice of the Met Office. Residents are asked to have a supply of flashlights and other battery-operated lighting equipment. Lamps are possible fire hazards and not encouraged.
Is back, but before we meet our guests for season 2, we'll take a look back at the highlights of season 1 all throughout the month of September. So join us every Monday at 8 p.m. for Conversations right here on ABS.
APA would like to inform consumers that the electricity network will be closely monitored during Hurricane Irma. Based on the severity of the weather conditions, the network will be completely closed down to minimize damage. This will be done under the advice of the Met Office. Residents are asked to have a supply of flashlights and other battery-operated lighting equipment. Candles and kerosene lamps are possible fire hazards and not encouraged.
Once again to our sports health and wellness section with, of course, our doctor in the house, AUA's very own Dr. Rick Millis. Good evening, Dr. Rick.
Good evening, Ricky.
And
by the way, they used to call me Ricky when I was a kid.
Oh, well, I guess that's a good thing for me. I'm still a kid. I'm a kid at heart.
Exactly.
So, Doc, what are we going to be discussing this evening?
Well, I thought a good topic for this evening would be muscle strength. You know, as we age, we're always losing our muscle strength. Now, for athletes, especially since this program is geared greatly toward youth athletes, they have to keep improving their muscle strength and maintaining it. And it's not an easy thing to do. So, for example, if you build up your muscles for a particular sport, and then you take some hiatus, take some break from that sport, you detrain them. In other words, they atrophy, they lose their strength, they actually shrink. So you have to keep building them up if you don't, work out continuously.
And I would imagine that different sports require different muscles.
Yes, different groups of muscles. So we have slow twitch muscles and fast twitch muscles that we talked about before. The slow twitch muscles are those muscles for endurance activities.
And we know the fast twitch muscles are predominantly in females.
Well, that's right. Fast twitch. No.
Memory.
No. Yet it's actually the other way around. That these slow twitch muscles, females, if you look at a particular muscle in a female compared to a muscle to a male, the female has more of the slow twitch muscles, which gives her some advantage in endurance activity, where the man has more explosive power and force and strength because he has more fast twitch muscles. So that's why we said a female can never beat a male at a particular sport or a particular activity unless it's usually endurance related. In other words, they have an advantage in endurance training.
And how could you differentiate between the various type of muscles for the various type of sports? Like let's take your sport of choice, basketball.
Right.
What group of muscles are more predominantly used in that sport as opposed to, let's say, athletics?
Well, you see, the good thing about basketball and, let's say, soccer and these team sports is where there's a lot of running and endurance associated with them. You're using a mixture of all those muscles, slow twitch and fast twitch. So, for example, when you jump, those are mostly your gastrocnemius or your calf muscles, which are fast twitch muscles predominantly. And so if you practice jumping, you're going to have a greater proportion of those fast twitch muscle fibers in your calf muscles, you see? And if you don't, then you'll have a greater proportion of slow twitch muscles. So you train them in that way. But the more important thing and interesting thing to talk about tonight is how do we maintain it? How do we maintain our muscle strength? So, for example, if you don't do anything, you're a couch potato, your muscles are atrophying. They're getting smaller and shrinking, and you're losing your strength. Well, if that continues throughout your lifetime, you're going to become dependent upon other people because you're not going to have the strength to, let's say, protect yourself from a fall. And you might fall and stumble and dislocate your shoulder or break bones because you have thin bones. So there's all kinds of
So that's why professional athletes, for instance, never have an off season, so to speak.
Yes.
Because they have to keep their core muscles for whatever sport it. And if I would imagine a game like cricket or it's similar equivalent in American sports, baseball, there's not much jumping, there's not much running apart from when you're chasing the base. It's a slower game, so of course you use different muscles so it's different build-ups that you have to do, and I would imagine it's less exercise that you have to do in the off season when you're playing those sports, or am I wrong?
No, you're wrong, because actually, even though you may be not using the same group of muscles, let's say a pitcher or a bowler in cricket may be using some groups of muscles that the fielder is not using.
Right.
And so, but the problem is that when they're unbalanced, when you haven't trained them to be balanced, so you're overall strong, you have overall good strength in all your muscles, then you're at more risk for injury just from everyday daily activities, which would impair you and sideline you when you went out to play.
So how would someone in a slow sport like baseball or cricket, how would they maintain their...
Well, it's called cross-training. You in the off season or even during your season, you do other activities to ensure that you will keep for example, if you don't use your calf muscles for jumping, well, you should incorporate some jumping into your daily training or weekly training regimen to ensure that those calf muscles stay strong, because even though it looks like you're not using them, you are actually. When you're bowling or throwing a baseball, you're actually using all your muscles.
Oh, I see. So all sports require a similar a similar kind of training that you have to upkeep and so forth. Does that entail weightlifting or?
Well, it does. So we call those resistance training. So there's two kinds of exercise. One is called aerobic and the other is called anaerobic. Aerobic are those endurance activities where you're breathing hard and you're using a lot of oxygen. And anaerobic are those activities where you don't really need to breathe very hard and use a lot of oxygen because over a long period of time, because you're, let's say, doing something like lifting weights. And the weightlifting is anaerobic because, remember, we talked about ATP, the battery juice of the cell? The battery juice of the cell is generated from processes in your cells, in your muscles, for example, that don't require any oxygen. And it's less ATP, it's less battery juice, and that's actually what the fast twitch muscles are fueled by, a small amount of battery juice, a small amount of ATP, which is why they fatigue faster, okay, although they're stronger than the slow twitch muscles.
Right.
So when we train those fast twitch muscles, we do it with resistance training with weights, heavy weights, in order to make those muscles stronger. And when we train the slow twitch muscles, we do it with more endurance activities. So we're breathing hard and we're using more oxygen, and that allows those cells to make more of this battery juice called ATP. Now, here's an interesting thing. You know, a multi-million-dollar market right now is the creatine market. You heard of creatine?
No, I've never heard of it.
Really?
No.
Well, there's this supplement, creatine, and many athletes take it, and it's even being given to elderly people who have, and people who have diseases, like elderly people, when they just, as I said before, growing older causes our muscles to shrink and atrophy and get weaker. So how do we fight that? Well, with nutrition and exercise, but sometimes for some people, especially the elderly, it's not enough. So we give them these creatine supplements. So athletes are also taking the creatine supplements to make them stronger. Anyway, it's a multi-billion-dollar market.
So is that a way of taking a supplement instead of exercise? That's what you said?
Well, it's additive. It adds to it. There is some evidence that even without exercise, taking the creatine helps you maintain your muscle mass and your strength. So that when you work your exercise and your diet together, it optimizes your muscle strength. So the thing about the creatine is that this creatine, when we give it, it's taken orally. It's an amino acid. Our body makes its own creatine. So you're adding to what the body is already making. This creatine is an amino acid that's made inside the muscle cells. And actually, it helps restore that ATP or battery juice in the muscle cell. So the evidence is that the main effect of this creatine is to replenish the battery juice. You see, if you replenish the battery juice, and let's say you're working hard every day, you're working out every day, what happens is that you actually recover faster. So for people who are into heavy training every single day, this creatine seems to allow them to recover faster. Now, how does it increase muscle strength? That's what you're about to ask, right? So recovery is one thing, but increasing muscle strength is something that's related to what the creatine does. When it gets inside the muscle cell, it attracts water, and it makes those muscles bulge. And for reasons we don't completely understand, when those muscles bulge and they have more water inside, they're better hydrated, they're stronger muscles.
So in other words, I can get bulgy muscles by taking some creatine?
Yes, actually you can.
But are there any side effects to taking this new supplement?
Not really. There was some worry that because it's an amino acid, it might damage the kidneys. You heard that people with kidney disease shouldn't take a lot of protein.
Yes, I know that.
Right? Well, amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. So people with kidney disease, the amino acids seem to damage the kidneys, maybe because they're acidic. We really don't know completely. But creatine is an amino acid, and there's no evidence that it really damages the kidney in healthy people. We are concerned about people who have kidney disease. They probably shouldn't take it. The elderly, like even me, who have our kidney function is declining with age. We probably shouldn't take it too, if our kidney function is declining.
And it's not a banned substance from the sporting fraternity, is it?
It is not. It is not.
So this is another methodology of getting around.
Right. Well,
because it's a natural substance. That's what you're saying.
It's a natural substance. In most sports, it is not banned. The big controversy came from, remember this guy Mark McGuire, who
the baseball
player who took over Babe Ruth's home run record a number of years ago.
Right.
Well, he popularized this supplement when he admitted that he had taken creatine during the season that he
well, that's what I'm asking. So,
Babe Ruth
so could it be classified as a performance-enhancing?
Yes, it is. It is. And
but it's not banned.
Well, it is in some sports. I mean, in some sports, it actually is a banned substance. So I think, like in Major League Baseball, at that time, creatine was new. And because it was new, there was some worry about it, damaging kidneys and damaging. So they did actually, I think Mark McGuire's home run record had us an asterisk by it.
Right, I remember that. It was a questionable.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was related to the creatine or to the steroids. So I'm not sure about the topic of what sports admit, and allow creatine and which ones don't. I haven't heard much about creatine being banned, though.
Okay.
So I think creatine is allowed in most sports. And so we really should think about using creatine more to help maintain your muscles, especially if you are working out heavily every single day.
Or if you're getting a little old but not too old.
Yeah. The other thing it does is for people who are doing this resistance training, very heavy weight training, it really does help them a lot because it allows them to add more what we call nuclei to your muscles. So remember when you learned in biology that every cell has a nucleus?
Yes.
Well, the interesting thing about skeletal muscles, the muscles that move our limbs, is they have many nuclei in them. So they have the potential to make a lot of protein inside, and the protein inside makes the muscle strong. And so these nuclei are added, larger numbers of them are added from this resistance training. That means the muscles actually get bigger, the muscle fibers get bigger, not just from the water we talked about that's being attracted to the creatine, but also by adding more nuclei, the cells are able to make more muscle, and the muscles get bigger and hypertrophy and bulge and all of that makes them stronger. So there's a lot of different things as creatine does.
Well, Dr. Rick, that brings us to the end of our show. We once again wish to thank you for being part of the health and wellness, sports health and wellness section of our Automotive Art GN Sports Show. And we look forward to having you here again next week.
You're welcome.
Same
Thanks.
time, same place.
We'll think of another topic, and maybe we'll continue this discussion about muscle strength.
I'd like to continue this discussion
and
if we might.
Other nutritional strategies besides supplementation with creatine.
Okay, and we'd like to thank our listening audience for another episode of the Automotive Art GN Sports Show. And we'll see you again next week. Good night.